before we looked at just taking a single dose of a medicine and watching it decay in the body. Now let's consider taking repeated doses. Let's say 300 milligrams every 6 hours. Again, I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't trust these numbers. Let's say, since it's every 6 hours, let's let the time step size be 6 hours. And we're tracking how much is in the system immediately after taking a dose. You could define it to be the pre-dose level. It turns out that doesn't make much of a difference. Let's say you start with 300 milligrams in the body, so that's just at time 0 you take that first dose. On our previous sheet we said you lose 15.9% per hour, but then you're gaining a 300 milligram pill every 6 hours. So this is getting a little more complicated. So let's think about what parameters we want to put in here. If a time step is 6 hours, I can't just use 15.9%. So I might need one of these 4 formulas to deal with the fact that the 15.9% loss is every hour, but I'm taking a time step every 6 hours. So pause the video and think about which one of these might be the right thing. Alright, it turns out the right thing to do is this one, even though that looks like the most complicated, and I'll let you think about why that might be. Let's come over and program that. So we're going to have a 300 milligram dose each time. And our decay rate should be negative. We know that it should be 15.9% loss each hour and 6-hour time steps. So what was that formula? We had sorry about that. So we had negative 1 minus the decay rate to the 6th. So negative 1 minus the decay rate to that power. So if we're losing about 16% an hour, that turns out to be 64% every 6 hours. And this is in milligrams. So we said let's start with 300, and none of these are dollars, so let's reformat them so they aren't dollars. So think what this should look like, and it turns out we're taking way too many time steps here, so we'll get back to that and change it. But before we go delete most of the time steps, think about what this is going to look like. Well, that's probably enough. So we started at 300, and then we were at a little over 400, and then about 440. And how did that behave here? Is that an exponential behavior? Exponentials can't curve that way, and we have an exponential desperately trying to curve that way here, and it's turning out to be mostly linear. So that's our repeat dosing case.